A jury has found Jussie Smollett guilty of staging an anti-gay and racist attack on himself in 2019 and lying to Chicago police about it. The Empire actor faces up to 3 years in prison for 5 counts of disorderly conduct. CBS News legal contributor and former Manhattan prosecutor Rebecca Roiphe joins me now for more. Hi there, Rebecca. Can you talk more about the counts against Smollett and what this verdict means?
So Jussie Smollett was charged with 6 counts of disorderly conduct. And in Illinois, disorderly conduct includes making a false report to police officers. So it was obviously that subsection of the law that applied to him. And he was then convicted for 5 out of those 6 charges that all related to that one night in which there was, as you say, that staged attack that he then he lied to the police officers about. He was acquitted of 1 count, which had to do with 2 weeks later changing some details of the account that he had initially filed. So those are the charges. They are a fairly low-level felony charge, but nonetheless serious, and he could face jail time.
So there are so many reasons this case is unusual. From a legal perspective, what stands out to you?
So I'll just say from a legal perspective, actually, in a dry sort of way, it isn't that unusual. And people are charged for this kind of crime all the time, making a false report. It's often connected to some kind of insurance fraud or something like that. But it was extremely different, both because of the high-profile nature of the case and the colorful nature of the charges. It was met with such quick assumptions and media attention. And Jussie Smollett was actually charged initially, and then those initial charges were dropped. A special prosecutor was appointed, and then this new case commenced. So in that way, there was a lot of attention and a lot of sort of backroom deals that were going on before it got to this point.
I remember some of the controversy about conversations that were had and outreach that was made before those charges. Rebecca, what do we know about the possibility of an appeal for Smollett?
Well, it's quite common in criminal cases that defendants bring an appeal, but it isn't always the case. So we have to wait to see whether or not he will decide, or he and his lawyers will decide to bring an appeal. This was a fairly straightforward, as I said, the factual issues were very complicated and sort of crazy, but the legal issues were fairly simple. So, there wasn't anything that stood out to me as clearly something that they would want to appeal. So the question is whether they make that choice just in order to give their client one more chance, or whether they decide not to do that. So we have to wait and see whether that happens.
And Rebecca, as I mentioned to our viewers, being found guilty on these 5 charges carries up to 3 years in prison. We still are awaiting the sentencing by the judge. Give us a sense of what you think might happen next.
So, right, we're waiting to hear about the sentences, and a lot goes into that determination. There'll be a pre-sentence report where there will be lots of details given on both sides about, mitigating or aggravating factors that ought to be considered in determining his sentence. One thing to keep in mind is what the prosecutor said at his press conference, which was, how damaging this act really was, because, future victims of hate crimes may not be believed because of it. And, I think that is a serious consideration, and one that the judge might take into account in determining where to draw that line as a sentence for Jussie Smollett, who, of course, hasn't been convicted of a crime in the past, so would, be eligible for a sentence on the lighter side of that range. But we have to wait and see.
All right, Rebecca Roiphe, thank you.
Thank you so much.